All right, today I wanted to make a little video for you guys about how to keep up with your reloading information. I sort of touched on this in another video where I was doing some other things, but I sort of thought this is something that is, you know, that you'll use all the time, anytime you're reloading pretty much, or doing load development. So I kind of wanted to give it its own video and spend, you know, just a little bit more time touching on what I do. But this is my way of keeping up with my load development process. And instead of like showing you guys pieces of paper and stuff like that I've filled out, I thought, well, heck, we'll just kind of do a pretend load development session here and just kind of show you how to write this out. So let's just say you're reloading for, I don't know, a 308, and you're going to use some 168 grain Sierra Match Kings, and you're going to do a powder charge test. So the way I generally write this out, I'll just come right up here, and you can buy these little let me start out with the notepads. You can get these little notepads for like next to nothing. Just little spiral bound type notepads. I've got other ones over here too. Like these little green ones, like that one. I have dedicated to a 30-06, my old hunting rifle. I buy one of these for every gun or every barrel that you're reloading for, and you just dedicate it to that gun. That way you can go back and look at past information, you know, load data and stuff that you've done. That way you're not repeating, you know, the past. Like you might have tried some bullet and powder combination and forgot about it, and this will save you from possibly wasting more ammo that don't shoot in the future. So you can get these things, like I said, for about next to nothing. I mean, the most you'd ever pay for one's probably $1. You probably get a 3-pack for $2 or $3, you know, at Walmart or a dollar store or Staples. Really, some of the nicer ones are these, what do they call these things? Right in the weather pads. This one's a little bit bigger. I kind of like its size. It's like a 4x6, I think. And that's actually a really nice size. It's probably even a little bit bigger than it would have to be, but anyway, these will do the job too. So, all right, back to your 308. You're going to load 168 grain Match King. So I always start out by writing the bullet. So I'd write 168 MK for Match King. One thing you want to do here is make sure you don't use too much of a coded language, like this MK. You know, as long as you know what it is, you know, you'll be all right. But if you start coding and abbreviating too much, then let's say you get a bunch of ammo loaded up that you want to go test, and life gets in the way, and it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month before you get to go shoot it. You know, you don't want to have such a coded language here that you don't even know what you were talking about. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You know, write this out plain and simple to where even if you don't shoot this group and you come back to it a year later, you can read this notepad and know what you were talking about. So that's one thing that I've kind of learned over the years doing this. Anyway, I know MK is an abbreviation for Match King that's used pretty universally, so I don't think I'll ever, you know, forget that. So then I'll just put like a little slash or a dash or whatever, and then I'm just going to write the seating depth, you know, just for kicks. Let's just write 2.800, like the old standard seating depth. So there's my bullet and my seating depth. The powder I'm going to be using is IMR 4064, just for kicks. So you can write that next. And then, you know, you can write down what primer you're using. Let's just say you're going to use CCI 400s. No, wait, that's small. 200s. Sorry. So I just write CCI 400 for my primer, and I just use these big forward slashes just to kind of separate the information. If you wanted to write down what kind of brass you were using, let's say you got a lot of different head stamps of brass, this would be another place. Let's just say you had some federal brass, so I'd probably just there you go. write down federal brass. Another thing I like to do is write down the date. Let's just say, what's today's date? The January the 9th. So let's just say it was today that we were shooting them. I'd probably do something like that. I also like to write down the distance that I'm shooting at. If you shoot at multiple distances, I go back and forth between 100 and 200 yards all the time, so I generally write it down just so I know. So let's say I'm load developing at 200 yards today. I'll write that down, and then most of the time I'll write down the temperature too, just so I've got a good idea. Especially like in the summertime, you might find a week that it's not so hot. It might only be in the 70s or something, and you would want to keep that in mind if the chance that if there was a chance you might shoot the same ammo in 90-degree weather or something, you don't want to run into like overpressures and that sort of thing. So since it's January, let's just say it was 40 degrees out when I shot. This is getting a little loaded up with information. I generally don't write down the brass I'm using because most of the time I'm using the same head stamp, and it'd be a long time before I switch brasses or switch brass lots or whatever. But anyway, there's you an idea. So now let's say I'm going to do six groups of various powder charges. So let's just say I'm going to end with I don't know, I'm going to wind up going with 44 grains, 44.0. Lots of times I will start at the top end because I know that's where I want to end. Like I'll look in the book, find what the maximum charge is, and then decide if I want to load up that high or not. And I'll just the first group I load up will be the hottest charge, and then because it's easier for me to step down with my method or with my powder measure or whatever than it is to say, okay, I want to load up 6 groups and then go in half grain increments and sit there and have to do the math in my head and figure out where that's going to put me on the bottom side. So I usually just start writing on the top side and go down. So I'm going to draw a little line right here and leave myself 3 spots here to write the velocities off this group. This will all make a little more sense here in a second. So I'm just going to jump in half grain increments just to make it easy. So the next one, 43.5, and we'll have 43.0, and I'll usually underline that, and I'll skip a line and come down here. Let's see, we're at 42.5. Okay, so right there we've got our whole little chart laid out. Now the reason I do it like this is I try to make everything mirror my target. So if I'm loading the ammo right here, let me just grab some brass. When I'm loading this ammo up, and this, let's just say this was my ammo box. Hey, there's an empty one. I'll use it. Okay, this is my ammo box here. So when I get this my 44 grain charges loaded up, I'll put those in there sort of like that and have my little 3-shot group. And then the next one would be 43.5. I'll put it over here and have like a little 3-shot group. Same deal. I think you get the idea here. I'm making my ammo box mirror my notepad now. And let's just go ahead and put them all in there for the sake of demonstration here. Okay, so that would be all of my groups, and it's going to mirror exactly what I've got on my notepad. And the reason I do that is because, let me get the camera repositioned. This is how my target would look. So again, I've got my little notepad here that mirrors the little stickers I would be shooting at on my target. So that way, there's no confusion as what you're doing. Everything mirrors each other, and then whenever you're done, after you've shot all your groups, you can lay your notepad on this on your target and take a picture of it, and then you've got you know a good a good thing to go back and look at if you're if you're wanting to see how this particular recipe shot. And after after that, another thing I will do is make photo albums, like on my phone or on your computer or wherever you want to keep your pictures. I'll have albums dedicated to like that bullet, or I might have albums dedicated to that powder that I use or whatever, and I can go back and look through all the different pictures that I've took from various load development sessions, and plainly see how good or bad it grouped. And you can do the same thing for seat and depth. If the seat and depth was the thing you were going to test, you just, up here, you wouldn't write down the seat and depth, you just write down what powder charge you were going to stick with, and then come down here and write down all your various powder charges. And I leave these spots because if you're wanting to chronograph your loads, you can write the velocities down for each 3 shots or 5 shots, or however many you're wanting to test per group. But this kind of gives you a good idea of the system that I use, and this works good for me. I've easily been able to keep up with all the different loads I've tried over the last couple of years, or more years than that, really. It might not be your way, but it works really good for me. So I just wanted to put that out there and kind of give you an idea. So it might be something that works good for you. So again, just get some of these little notepads, dedicate it to that barrel or that rifle, and then just try to make your notepad look like your target and also your ammo box, and there's no confusion there. And of course, if you you don't have to organize your ammo box in that manner. You could do, I don't know, little 3-shot groups like this, and well, I might run out of spots that way. I think that's generally why I do the little 3 cluster there. But if you had a 100-round ammo box, then obviously that would make for you a lot more room. So if you were if you're wanting to test 5-shot groups, then you could get a little larger notepad to where you can fit all this on one page. And the ideal thing just to keep in mind is try to keep it all your information on the same page, so when you lay your notepad on your target and take a picture, it's all your information is there, and you can just go look at that one picture, zoom in and out, and get all your you can read all your data on your notepad. So anyway, hope this helps you guys out, and look forward to talking to you again soon.